Welcome to Pittsburgh Sportsline. This is a live talk show. We're trying to figure out what camera we're looking at. We seem to have one, but maybe two. Thanks for watching our show on Verizon 32 everywhere in the Pittsburgh area. Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. YouTube 24/7. We have all of our shows archived. Pittsburgh Sportsline at Sip Sports Bar, Pittsburgh Sportsline at Level 20, and Pittsburgh Sportsline, just Pittsburgh Sportsline, so you can find our shows. And thanks for watching us. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner. We got Smoking Jim Frazier and Zach Brenner, Little Z. And we usually do our first segment, What's on Our Mind, and we're going to start with that right now. Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well, guys, and Al Levine, the Talking Machine, you know what's on my mind? I'm going to hold this up because for you folks, younger generation, that's Jay-Z. We're going to the Barclays Center on August 9th. Lightning Rod Salka is fighting Danny Swift Garcia for not one, not two, 3 belts. You got it, folks, 3 belts. So like I was telling my colleague Jim Frazier out in the parking lot, we went from fighting in a 1,000-capacity gymnasium in Elizabeth to fighting in God's country in Monroeville on Showtime and knocking down Mike Tyson's boy, the Iron Mike Tyson, which will go down in infamy with Al Levine's infamous picture where all he has is the chins of myself and Iron Mike Tyson, but a perfect shot of the magazine. So I guess that's all for the better. I'm a team player. That's how I got to be where I'm at. It's time to get a new edition rolling, folks. We need some advertisers. You need to sell ads. We need sponsors. Smoking Jim Frazier. Everything, every dollar, everything we could get, folks. Yeah, that's what's on my mind. August 9th, Lightning Rod Salka. We've been with him since the beginning. I wouldn't even be a part of this show if it wasn't for Rod Salka, and I'm very excited to go to New York for my first time and go to Brooklyn and pay homage to some of Smoking Jim Frazier's friends.
Thanks. He's trying to get you in the sandbox. Little Z's not playing. No, it is quite the good news. I did see that come across. Zach Brenner scooped some of the boxing people. He had it posted before they did. So that's quite a big. Well, Smoking Jim, you've missed one of your favorite girls from Steel City Angels, who I post so you can see it. Let's get down to what's on your mind, Smoking Jim.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
here it's coming at you.
You got to see Levine. What's on my mind is it's rising cost of college, and even plumbing school's getting expensive. But the Yard Institute now, people to get a degree from there span anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000. No wonder they're starving artists. And I got a nephew who's going to Virginia Tech, and it's going to cost him $42,000 a year to go. What's costing his dad? I may throw a couple of dollars in.
You got heavy money.
Heavy money here and there. I may throw something in so he gets something to eat on the weekend. But if you have a daughter, you may find it advantageous to have her get involved with golf. There's some good golf places around that teach them how to play golf, like First Tee and some other places. Because every year the NCAA gives back 20,000 golf scholarships for girls because there's not enough girls playing golf. So they have an opportunity to go to a school of their choice if they play golf. Coming out of high school, I had over 19 football scholarships. And they were all the schools were schools that I didn't want to go to. But
those schools that they required you to show up for class.
Yep, there were schools that were. That's revisitation.
But none of them were my dream schools, and so this golf is a better opportunity for these girls because they have a great opportunity to be able to go on scholarship to a school they actually would like to attend. So that's what's on my mind.
I am blown away.
Smoking Jim.
I am blown
We're
away.
going to revisit that.
Oh my God, I'm blown away.
Education first. I hear you, my friend.
Yay!
I just have a
Preach,
question.
brother, preach.
Did you get injured today? because this has been going on for over 20 plus years, the high escalation of cost of education. So just because it's happening to Frasers, this has been going on. The Levine homestead can tell you about just Penn State.
It's a travesty, I tell you.
It is. Now, this is late breaking news. Smoking Jim found out there's a higher cost for high education. And he didn't mention two of our guests who are golfers who they should see, so I better shout out to that. Aaron Jenton, right in God's country.
Right at the racket club.
And Missy Berniatti, who were in negotiations on her world tour. She's out there traveling all over the country. She's coming back, and you got Cool Springs being remodeled. So, Smoking Jim, in all your wisdom, why don't you channel some of these young girls to go to either God's country or come out to Bethel Park, see Missy Berniatti, okay? And that's what's on Smoking Jim's mind. Chip, I can't wait to hear what's on your mind.
Can't wait to hear what's on my mind. Well, thank you, Alan. And, several things are on my mind. I've checked through the recent news releases, and Ray Rice still hasn't been suspended from football. I wonder how long it's going to take the commish to make that happen. And where are the women's rights activists, about the violence against women?
She's still with them.
Yeah, well, they still need to suspend him because
we'll revisit.
Brutalizing a woman is unacceptable. Also, World Cup's going on. I was watching the game on Sunday. What a heartbreaking tie that was to watch. But, there was a little bit of entertainment at the World Cup today. Somebody went Mike Tyson on one of the opposing players.
Luis Suarez.
Third time, Suarez bit one of his opponents. Yeah. So we'll touch on that when we get into the World Cup. But, here I am in my garb. I'm representing the Pittsburgh Pirates proud. They've fought their way back to 500. Their record is now 38-38. Neil Walker came back off the DL. Jose Tabata has been reassigned to Indianapolis. And I think right now the Pirates have a very, very strong lineup to field against any of the team. Looks like the pitching staff is starting to get itself around. But the thing that's most on my mind tonight is I was at the Pirate game last Wednesday night. And just to refresh everybody's memory about the significance of last Wednesday night's game, in the third inning, the Pirates were playing the Reds, and it was a pretty close game. And there was a play at the plate. The bases were loaded. Edison Volquez was pitching. Russell Martin was catching. So there's bases were loaded. So that means that any out to any base is a force out. So all you have to do is catch the ball, touch the plate. Runner is out immediately. So the batter hits the ball, and it dribbles about 10 feet in front of home plate, and the pitcher runs by over and catches it. And Russell Martin, standing there, gets a high throw, taps the base, gets out of the way so that the runner slides through to the plate. And, hey, the umpire called him out. And we're all sitting there saying, great play, smart move, way to keep a run from scoring. Well, then the play was reviewed. And it was reviewed, and we waited, and we waited. We waited a little bit longer, and then after that we waited some more. And we finally get a ruling from New York that said that the runner was safe because the catcher blocked the plate. Well, there's been a rule this year, it's Rule 7.13 in Major League Baseball, where the catcher is not allowed to block the plate. Well, that's all fine and well if the play at the plate was a play where the catcher had actually tagged the runner, which was not the case. And after the fact, after he was called safe, the next day, Joe Torre, the administrator of the officiating, said that they got it wrong. The umpires made the correct call on the field, but the replay officials in New York got it wrong. So that prompted them to revise the rule today, and a ruling came down that the Rule 7.13, which involves blocking the plate, is null and void if it comes to a force play, so that they can't have the same thing happen again. I think this is probably an example of exactly how ridiculous this rule is and how it's hurting the game of baseball. Now, people this spring wanted to reduce the amount of injuries in baseball because of collisions at the plate. And, so few people got hurt in collisions at the plate that I can see why they would change the rules, and it really affects the way the game's played. The players don't know what to do, what not to do. The catcher doesn't know where he should be to catch the ball. Nobody understands what's going on, and really for the amount of people that got injured in the last 5 years in collisions at home plate, I think it's really kind of ridiculous that they made a rule. Now, here's what I think, because they're so good at making rules to protect the players, and we've got so many pitchers that are going in for Tommy John surgery. Why don't we just have the pitcher stand on the mound, put the ball on a tee, and have the batters hit the ball off the tee? That way we don't have to worry about the pitchers blowing out their arms and having Tommy John surgery. That's how ridiculous I think this rule is about blocking the plate. But, Alan, that's what's on my mind.
Nice, Chip. We'll revisit that, too. Well, I'll do a little promotion for our show here, John. We got the Enigma on 7, Thursday night, 5:30 to 8. We're going to have Bergman as our special guest. Wait till you see this guy. He does a lot of great in the neighborhood, and he wears quite the outfit. Friends with the mayor and hundreds of people around the area. He wants to be friends with us. So we'll be out there. We're looking for a nice crowd. We film our show for 30 minutes there. We do a mini version of that. We'll be there on Thursday night, so check us out. Now what's on my mind is I'm all about the USA. And I'm always promoting USA this and USA that. I'm glad that we're competitive. And I just have a problem. I can watch baseball. I can go to a 9-inning game. I can sit through an extra inning game. Now, Chip, it depends on who I have to usher in and out. So I have left games early, only recently, but I would stay there till the game's over. Now, I've tried to watch soccer, and I don't know how many are like that, but I am for the USA. I hope they win. I even tried to watch the last couple minutes of it. And I was painting the other day, and I had a choice. Now, I don't know how many out there have had this choice. Can I wait to paint that second coat? I'm just going to watch that paint dry, or do I watch soccer? Now, I appreciate the athleticism and what they do running up and down and the goaltenders, but I just can't wrap my mind around watching 90-plus minutes at times of that soccer. And that's what's on my mind. All right, let's revisit this home plate thing because I watched the same game from home. So I saw it immediately. When I saw that play, I said, he's definitely out. It's a force out. Then the announcers go, he's out. Then they started looking at it, and they go, you know what? You could take it where the nth degree, where he actually has his foot on the base, but it didn't interfere with it. And under the new rule, because this is an experimental rule, they have to change it. Common sense, okay, you had a couple stars. Posey got hurt and whatever else. So you had 2 guys maybe hurt in 5 years, that were legitimately hurt.
Yeah, but they were devastating injuries too, though. Not just like a concussion.
But
we're talking
baseball,
blown out leg.
Well, I don't know if anybody plays contact sports, and you're one of the toughest guys in the room at 30 years old. So now they're going to tell me that Zach Brenner has to have both arms tied behind his back if he has a confrontation with me.
Well, the thing is, the injuries were significant, but they're no worse than any injury you see on any given Sunday 16 times during the fall. And the ironic thing about that call on Wednesday night was there was a second play at the plate where Devin Mesoraco, the catcher.
Whoa.
For the Reds.
Hold that thought. We got a caller here. Hello, caller. Welcome to our show.
Hi there. Hi, Al. This is Sam here from Peters Township.
Who is this?
My name is Sam. I'm calling from Peters Township.
Sam, thanks for calling in.
Thank you. It's nice to hear your voice. So I can't see you because Comcast doesn't relay the show where I live.
We understand that, and it's just how Comcast operates.
Yours on YouTube.
Right. Why are you calling tonight?
Yeah. Hey, first of all, I just want to let you know that this is a great show. One of the few sports talk shows that I really enjoy. Unlike some of the cable shows where they're just trying to play up some controversy or something, get more ratings, I think your show is very spontaneous, and I really appreciate that you guys put in all the time and effort, and it's such a nice thing for all the sports lovers here. So shout out to all the 4 of you there. And a couple of things I just wanted to highlight. One is that, as we're going through this exposure with the Soccer World Cup and everything,
Yes.
one event pretty much went unnoticed, and that was the field hockey World Cup that was played in Netherlands. It ended, I think, a week, the Sunday before last, and the United States women's field hockey team actually made it to the semifinals. They played a great game. It's a game of great skill, athleticism, ability, and all that, and it just went completely unnoticed, and I did not even see a splash of it in the newspapers, which is a little sad, but I just wanted to bring it up since I think we have a great field hockey team, and in future I think this team can beat Netherlands and Australia, who are right now right up there. So that's the first thing that I quickly wanted to highlight.
Well, thank you, Sam. We appreciate that. And you can post different things at Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook, too.
Yeah, I'll start to do that. By the way, I think inside the first 50 to actually like Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook about a year and a half ago.
Well, thank you very much. We're now up to 3,070 likes, so we appreciate your like.
Thank you. And one quick thing I just wanted to highlight with all the hoopla that's going around with LeBron James and the Heat and everything. I got to tell you that, I'm a very recent immigrant into the Pittsburgh area. I migrated to the United States about 9 years ago. So when I look at all the different ways in which the professional sports players and the team owners behave, the sense that I get is that they just take their fans for granted. I'm a big fan of LeBron James, don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the greatest players in basketball. But the way that fans are completely left out of any decision by any of these big superstars to change teams is very, very sad. They got to remember that at the end of the day, it's the fan that pays for all their luxury yachts and luxury homes. When somebody buys a LeBron James T-shirt, I'm just picking on LeBron James because
we understand your points. As a matter of fact, we agree with a lot of what you're saying here. So
yeah, so I think if this continues, if there is no loyalty in the equation, there will be a backlash. People will find it's more comfortable going and watching a high school game where they have their sentiments and loyalty than watching these professional sports players who are like these mercenary soldiers who go and fight somebody else's wars in Africa.
Great point. Great point, Sam.
So I just wanted to highlight that, and once again, thank you so much for all the entertainment, and I just make sure that I watch your show every week on YouTube. It's a great way for me to catch up on what's going on, and it's one of the things that makes Pittsburgh very special for me.
Well, thank you very much.
Sam, thank you very much for calling and for your points of view.
We appreciate it, and you just start posting some things at Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. All right, Sam?
I'll do that. Take care, guys.
You too. Thanks again.
Very good call.
But
Wow.
he does bring up some interesting points in the mercenary portion of the professional athletes.
I've even said that.
He was spot on with that. But getting back to our conversation we were having before with the
play
with
at the
baseball
plate.
game,
The second play.
The second play at the plate, the catcher actually blocked the plate, and it was.
And they said it was a legal play.
And they said that was a legal play, and the other one was clearly not. So the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
Hold it, but one theme here that bothers me with new rules in any sport, it seems to be against Pittsburgh. I mean, when I look at it, think about it. We're talking baseball, two plays very similar. And the first one I thought was perfectly fine under the new rules. The second one, I thought he blocked the plate because he was right in front of where he had to go in to hit the plate.
But here's what the thing was. The runner was called safe at the plate because he got his hand in before he got it tagged. But that wasn't. He should have been safe because the catcher was blocking the plate. He shouldn't have had to go around the catcher to touch the base.
That's my point. It was a clear block under the rules.
But, that just goes. But Alan was speaking to the point of the World Cup. And I got to tell you, I'm not a real soccer fan. And, every 2 years I will pay attention to soccer because I do watch the men's and the women's World Cup. I find it interesting. I find it fascinating. And the one thing I do enjoy, I watched that soccer game Sunday evening. The thing I loved about the game is that we watched the game and there weren't any commercials. And I was like, hallelujah. You could watch the game, you could get into it, watch the ebb and flow, and every 15 seconds you weren't watching somebody hawking tennis shoes or T-shirts or, hygiene products or whatever it is.
Well, there you go. You got a good point there. If you want commercial-free sports,
but it did,
watch soccer.
But that was wonderful. But
it still says Visa on the soccer ball. There's all kinds of things
It's
around.
like
I mean, they
NASCAR.
got plenty of
It's like
opportunities
NASCAR.
to advertise. Believe me,
But
there's big TV ratings. There's
No,
big,
but he's saying commercials where you have a break in the action.
Well, try to watch a NASCAR race on TBS and you'll find out real quick.
The problem with NASCAR races on TBS, and it's starting to become a problem with Major League Baseball too, is the length. Like you want to sit down and watch a race, and then you get 5 hours out of your day. You've got to, I don't have 5 hours out of any given day that I could do nothing in.
It's an event, though. You have an event every time.
It is an event, but Major League Baseball. It seems that the games are getting longer and longer, and I think the average elapsed time of Major League Baseball game now is 3 hours and 12 minutes, and I think that's that they ought to do.
Smoking Jim could never make it. 3 hours and 12 minutes.
No.
Zach Brenner can't do it.
No, they need to do some things to speed up the game. I mean, after every every pitch, the player's going to get out and readjust himself. And
What about El Toro? He's more guilty than anybody with his little pre-batting
I'm
routine.
just talking about everybody across the board, Pirates.
I'm
and
singling
all,
El Toro out because he's as guilty
as
as all of them.
be
The way
honest,
he,
Except when he's hitting 3-run homers, he can readjust everything 10 times. Just knock the ball out of the park.
And just so you know, I love 3-run homers.
Oh, me too.
wow.
Smoking Jim, I got to revisit the education there.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, my friend. You are joining the modern era.
Jim
It is
Fraser-
now 2014.
Listen, Jim Fraser is about as much for the children as the Wu-Tang Clan was.
You better explain that one there.
And I hope, Sam, from Peters Township, if you don't get it, send me a private message on Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to break down that comment for you.
Well, he'll see us on YouTube when it's presented on YouTube tomorrow or so. But
Hey, that was
you'll
the
get a
best
call
call
then.
that I've been there.
That was one of the greatest. True.
I didn't know anything about women's field hockey, so I'm happy for Team USA. So thank you for pointing that out to me, Sam. I was in the dark as well about that, but we have a white party to talk about, Jim Fraser.
Hold it, not yet. He has a promo later on. You missed it last night, so he'll alert you to it and whatever he's going to do whenever he's going to tell us. So, is that enough revisitation? Or you guys got anything else
Well,
to
what
revisit?
about the Pirates are 38-38.
We're
so
going to have a
they're
Pirate
looking pretty.
segment. Yeah.
The Luis Suarez bit somebody in a soccer game today.
Yep.
LeBron James opts
We have
out.
soccer here, too. I have that as the
LeBron
first
opted out.
segment.
Yeah.
Since
Ray Rice.
LeBron opt out.
Yeah, he opted out
Oh
today.
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, that doesn't mean he can't go back and stay in Miami, but he's
it's called a
definitely
test,
testing the
Smoking
waters.
Jim. Like you're testing the waters in college. He's testing the waters to see how much he can get out there.
Don't be too surprised to see him playing for the Houston Rockets next year.
No way. The Rockets are a dark horse.
What about Melo's opted out too?
Yes, Carmelo opted out.
You know
They're
what? We're
saying
going to
right
go
now-
to an NBA
Yeah, we
segment
could have an NBA
after
segment.
soccer. We'll get that in since you guys are all excited.
Well, the last thing as far as Ray Rice goes and getting suspended by the National Football League, my stance on a lot of these things is this. Plexico Burress accidentally shot himself with his own firearm in the state of New York in a nightclub because he was improperly carrying it. And it also terminated his football career for the most part in the prime of it as a New York Giant, which cost him dearly. So he was even suspended for shooting himself. He not only he shot himself, he had to go to jail for 1 year because of the Rockefeller
2
laws
years.
in the state of New York. 2 years he spent in the can in the state of New York because he shot himself, and he still got suspended. So my thing is this. Let the criminal justice system play its thing out. If Ray Rice didn't get convicted of a crime and had to go to anger management, then it's none of the commission's business about him punching and clocking his girlfriend. And she's now his wife, and she's still with him. So she's as stupid as he is, and I don't like anybody in Baltimore, let alone the Ravens.
Right, exactly. What crime did Ben Roethlisberger get convicted of?
bad
we can
character.
go on and on, but I'll just tell you
Bad
this
character
much.
decisions.
If you're going to batter women and beat up women, I'm totally against it. I don't care if you're a criminal or not, or you get break the law. And I can't help it that there's a syndrome that these women still love the guy that beats them up. We all know of these people, and he's dead wrong. To me, he should be suspended. To get caught on film and tape like that and to make a joke of this stuff, it's a joke against women and even good men in this area. And you're a good man, so I mean, he should be suspended, no doubt. 1 whole year.
Nope.
Definitely.
It's a joke that the woman that he roughed up and clocked like that
Wow.
is still with him. So, if she's going to stay with him, the charges are going to be dropped. He's going to get anger management, and he's not going to be suspended by the
we'll
league.
agree to disagree because some of this is so egregious to even talk about. I don't even want it to look like it's humorous here because it's not.
There's nothing funny about it, and it should be dealt with swiftly. And you know what? Even the commissioner of football has said you don't need to be convicted of a crime for him to be able to mete out punishment. So I don't know why he's dragging his feet.
Well, because he's Goodell, but that's another story.
He got other business to attend to.
Yeah, those are other things.
Dog fighting.
We'll go to Sip Sports Bar now. Last night we did something that we've never done before. We had some tragedy that happened in Philadelphia. A young lady was killed when she had her purse grabbed from her right in front of her mother. She was shot and killed. And we're trying to find the killer, so we did promote that last night. As a public community access TV station. If anybody sees that show, the name of the lady is Amber J. Long. Her dad, Troy, was on the show, and I can't even imagine that as a father with a daughter and a son to be on a show trying to find the killer of your daughter, who, and it's his ex-wife, was with the daughter in a nice area of Philadelphia. I know we're not big Philly fans, but it is a travesty to see somebody that was 27 years old killed. Her whole life was ahead of her. So if you do watch the video that we'll have up from Sip Sports Bar, that is such an egregious thing to have happen there. And then on lighter notes, it's Campides night, 50 cents a slice. Shout out to the Campides. Get that pizza. Wing nights on Thursday night. Monday night, we had the best meatball hoagies 2 weeks in a row. Not 2 weeks ago, but I don't know if Smoking Jim ate his. He usually waits a week or so. And a lot of great guests, a lot of great people were there. We had a nice crowd there, so I appreciate everybody coming out, even liking us while they were there on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. Thanks again. Come on out there on Monday nights. We've got another great show coming up. You're more than welcome to come out in Dormont, parking on the street, all kind of drink specials, and of course, different food specials throughout the week and entertainment on each weekend. And that's the Sip Sports Bar.
Did you ever, Jim Frazier, did you ever play golf?
I wouldn't play golf at gunpoint.
Thank you.
How did that come? The sandbox is starting to come out. All right, we're starting to get these favorite segments of mine coming up. The first one is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. I can't wait to hear after education, expenses are at the top of his mind. How far back are you going to go in the time machine?
I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, Fiction and Facts from Smoking Jim's Almanac. I witnessed history again on Friday, June 18th.
Hold it. 6 days ago.
2014.
6 days ago.
I went to the Consol Energy Center and to watch the Pittsburgh Power victory.
Look, you guys are hitting every subject.
And the win put the Power in the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. And Tommy Grady, a friend of the show, threw 7 touchdown passes. And all I have to say is the 8th wonder of the world is, why isn't Tommy Grady in the NFL?
You have the answer, so please don't say it on air.
Chicken legs.
and that's your Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim Almanac. Go Power! I didn't know I was going to witness history when I went down there.
You didn't even know there was a game on until they halftime or so.
Did the brothers feed you?
Hey, he
And
did.
a shout out to another friend of the show who did a great job. Part of the dance team was Nicole, Chrissy Nicole.
Thanks.
Yeah, Chrissy
And
Nicole.
she's from
God's country, Monroe.
How do you
Gateway
forget
High
her
School,
name?
living legend.
and another friend of our show, Dom the announcer.
That's right, Dom.
That's where you heard that voice, Smoking Jim.
That's right. I was wondering where that voice sounded so familiar. Yeah, they did a lot of things. It was so much fun down there. And Mario is
Tempest.
He was there as well.
Well, you know whose cousin Dom is? Mario Tempest's cousin.
Boy, they're all in the family. So he's Dom is.
He's got more relatives than you.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Cousins.
Dom is related to Kenny as well.
Yeah, because that's his brother. All right, Smoking Jim, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I don't know what ground you're covering. I just want to know, where's the free tickets for me to go to the game?
My fault. You know,
I was waiting, but
we were doing boxing that day. And,
don't bring that
so
up.
I actually
Jeez.
went to the game by myself. I was a little late and I left a little early, but
What a surprise!
You?
That was the
You left early? Imagine that.
I busted you on that.
But you know what, folks?
I busted him on
I hate
Friday night.
I hate to cut into Chip's trivia time for 30 seconds, but I want to remind you folks that one of the first times that Jim Frazier made it to the end was in God's country in Monroeville at the Monroeville Convention Center when Lightning Rod Salka defeated Colito. And that was a
you couldn't
big
drag
night.
me out of there that night.
No,
bro.
you couldn't, folks.
You know
made it to the
why?
end.
He was so safe there. He wasn't even wearing shoes. He was relaxed like he was at home.
I'd have to lock my door in Monroeville.
Chip, the Prophet Hainer.
That's cool.
Let's hear this. Chip's trivia time.
Chips trivia time. Be happy to, Alan. And you know my penchant for my love of baseball. So I'm going to stick with the baseball trivia since we're in the heart of the baseball season. June 19th, 1942. Pirate, great Paul Wainer got his 3,000th hit.
Wow.
Another member of the Pittsburgh Pirates that are part of the 3,000 hit club. And you remember the first member of the 3,000 hit club was Carnegie's own Honus Wagner. Yes, sir. Don Sutton comes into my vision here. June the 24th, 1983, Don Sutton recorded his 3,000th strikeout. Okay, which is a pretty substantial accomplishment. But even more substantial was on June the 24th, 1986, Don Sutton got his 300th win, and he became the 19th pitcher in Major League history to record 300 wins. And we've got two 300-win pitchers going into Cooperstown this summer, Tom Glavin and Greg Maddox. Does anybody remember the Cincinnati Reds from the mid-1970s? They called them the Big Red Machine, and they used to say Little Joe used to make the Big Reds go. And Joe Morgan was the second baseman for the Cincinnati Reds. He started his career playing for the Houston Astros. Well, on June 24th, 1984, he hit his 265th home run, which at the time was a record for home runs by a second baseman in Major League history, and he broke Rogers Hornsby's record for second baseman. Rogers Hornsby is another Hall of Famer, and Joe Morgan as well. June the 24th, 1997. This is somebody that even Zach Brenner might recognize.
Oh, snap.
The big unit, Randy Johnson, struck out 19 batters, which was one shy of the Major League record set by Roger Clemens. 19 out of 27 batters he struck out. This one here is from my good friend Jim, one of his favorite Pirates of the last 2 years, who's now wearing the Phillies red, white, and blue. A.J. Burnett was the first pitcher in Yankee history to strike out 4 batters in one inning. How can you strike out 4 batters
Tell
in one
Smoking
inning?
Jim, he doesn't know.
There's only 3 outs in an inning. But what happened was he struck out the first 2, he struck out the third, the ball got past the catcher, and when that happens, then the catcher has to throw him out at first base, and the base has to be tagged. The runner beat the throw, so a runner got on first, the next batter came up, he struck him out. So he recorded 4 strikeouts in one inning.
What a leader.
That's the very first time in the illustrious history of the New York Yankees. Now this one here, I got one from my friend Alan, because my good friend Alan is a huge Babe Ruth fan.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're going to go back, and we're going to turn the clock back. We're going to hop into the way back.
How many years?
1917, June 23rd. And I'll just read you the snippet here, because I think this is a pretty amazing feat. In baseball's greatest relief effort, Ernie Shore of the Boston Red Sox relieved pitcher Babe Ruth with nobody out and a man on first. The base runner was cut down stealing, and Shore retired all 26 batters he faced to gain a 4-0 victory over Washington. Ruth walked Eddie Foster to open the game and was ejected after arguing with the umpire. And that's the reason why he came in to finish out the game. And I thought, well, that's a pretty interesting little...
Well, I heard a rumor on that point that he was so drunk that he just wanted out of the game as a young man.
It could be.
Just one of the stories.
'Cause
that's why he's one of my heroes.
That's why Babe Ruth's idea of performance-enhancing drugs were hot dogs and beer. And and then on a lighter note, a man who became more famous for being an announcer of the Chicago White Sox than he ever was a player, a guy named Jimmy Pearson, back in 1963 on June the 23rd. He accomplished the feat of hitting his 100th career home run. And to commemorate that, he ran the bases backwards.
And a little side note, Smoking Jim, they said he was crazy.
They said he was crazier than a loon. And if you've ever listened to any of the stories about Jimmy Pearson as an announcer, they're true.
Wow.
Yeah, they're not made up.
No, he had a few screws loose.
Yeah. So it just goes to show you, in sports, you have a lot of craziness, Smoking Jim. Well, thanks, Chip. Appreciate the trivia time. Now we got Z time.
Well, on Z time today, I have a question. Since A.J. Burnett came up short of the strikeout record with Roger Clemens, you take Randy Johnson came short of the Rocket Roger Clemens. You call Hammerin' Hank Aaron the true home run king. So shouldn't we call Randy Johnson the true strikeout person?
Record
because
holder.
Roger Clemens is an admitted juicer, and if we're going to penalize Barry Bonds, let's take down the Rocket too, because he's as guilty as the next.
Because when Roger Clemens set the record, it was long before he ever started taking performance-enhancing drugs.
Technicality, huh? Z, gotcha. History wins again. Thanks, Chip.
We can neither confirm nor deny when some of these gentlemen started taking juice. I contend that Barry Bonds broke the home run record before he started taking juice.
No, he had clear on.
No.
And it wasn't clear as
his head
sill.
was 3 times the size it normally was by that time.
And this time around, now we have deer antler, underwear, and all kinds of things.
You've been listening and watching. Nice.
So we got testosterone replacement treatments and stuff like that in the cage. And there's all kinds of crazy things that these guys do to get jacked and bulked up to gain an edge. But, like he said, Chip said, Babe Ruth ate hot dogs and drank beer. And he broke a lot of records back then with a wooden baseball bat. And I'm truly impressed with a lot of those old guys, man. Some of them even went to war and fought in World War II, and then still resumed their playing career in baseball.
Ted Williams fought in World War II, and he flew in Korea as well. And it's one of the reasons why I believe Ted Williams never did get 3,000 hits in his career.
Right, he didn't.
He's one of the greatest hitters of all time, last hitter to bat 400. But, the reason why he didn't pad his statistics because he fought for his country.
Wow.
Do you take the same hardland stance that you take against Barry Bonds, Chip, with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa?
Absolutely, and I don't think any of them are ever going to get into the Hall of Fame. The one thing that I will give Mark McGwire credit for, he has a young son, and I read an article in Sports Illustrated where he had to come to his son when his son was old enough, and the son started asking him about using the PEDs, and he said, "You know what?" He goes, "I did use them. I was wrong for using them, and because of the fact that I used them, I'll never get into the Hall of Fame, and that's the price I paid for breaking the rules. But I knew when I was doing it that it was wrong, and you know what? For somebody to come clean and actually say that they did know that what they were doing was wrong and they cheated, that I have a little bit more respect for him, even though I would still never vote for him to get the Hall of Fame.
What would you still rationalize they took the PEDs not really to break the records, but to boost their stats and to get the millions more dollars? Like that's what they sold out of the Hall of Fame for, was for the money.
Well, they sold their soul to the devil.
The records come with an asterisk now, so
not really. There's no asterisk
There's
there.
no asterisk.
Well,
there.
there's guys that buy your balls that you broke the records with, and they burn them and they shred them and they shoot them into the space.
Well,
so
that's their problem.
well,
They're still records.
well, hey,
The records exist. I just refuse to recognize them.
Here,
Yeah,
just like
that's-
going back to Babe
I'm
Ruth.
stubborn.
All these guys were drinking beer and hot dogs and whiskey and everything else. So what's more impressive about the Babe is they were all as drunk as him or worse, and he out-homered them, out-pitched them, outplayed them,
They
and
wasn't
everything
drunk
else.
in the Negro legs.
Yes, they were. I got the book. You won't read it. You only read 17 pages of it. You only learned about when they
he's
shut
still
the...
working on Sidney Poitier's introduction.
No, he lost the book now because he hasn't talked about
How many of
it.
those Alex Cross books did you read?
Yeah.
See the movie.
Yeah, what'd you do? Came in late, got up and left before the ending?
Yes.
But
Yes.
you know what? I have, speaking of books,
What
I
book?
have a guy,
Not you.
we got a book for the show, just wrote an outstanding sports book.
Nice.
And, it's probably going to be one of the top 10 sports books of all time. It's
You better tell us the
outstanding.
title because
Just
I want to read it.
Just will keep you in suspense a little longer, but
Ugh.
I just talked to him on the phone a couple of days ago. He wants to come on the show, and so whenever we can get him on, and
The 21st of July. Book them.
All right, I'll book
If
him
you're
for the
listening,
21st of
mystery
July.
guest and great writer and whatever you've written about sports, I can't wait to
well,
read
This is
that
what I
free
like.
Hey,
book.
listen.
This guy has his. He's a full.
Don't call him a
professor,
fool.
And he has his PhD. So
Well-
maybe that day we may finally see
Well, listen.
that the king won't be the smartest guy on the show that day.
Listen, folks, money
But I tell you what,
talks.
his book is something you're going to love.
I already
He's gonna
want
be-
it.
He's going to.
I wanna
right
read
up
it.
there with Jim O'Brien.
Money talks
Wow.
and
And
bull
you got to book Jim
walks.
for the Hall of Fame show.
I
You
do.
got
No,
you got his
no.
number. Give me his number.
I'll give you his number. Good luck on talking.
Kamikaze Kid. I
Listen,
need
the
to
last
spell
five
his
times
name. I know how to
book-
spell his name.
The last 5 books that Smoking Jim Frazier came in here hawking never came to fruition. So the proof is in the pudding, folks.
Wow.
And until I physically see a copy of a book in my hand, and even further so, young
You
man,
see Jim O'Brien's book?
I know Jim O'Brien. I know.
Jeff bought the book.
I know
Oh,
Jim
Chuck,
O'Brien.
it's
called a
before he
winning
came on the
tradition.
show. But that's neither here nor there, folks. Jim Frazier hypes all these people up to mythological proportions, and sometimes it's hard, like, to live up to that hype. You know, he's a great hype
I
man.
believe
give
him
a
on
lot of
this one.
credit.
I think this man's for
This
real.
is it.
Hey, listen, we need
What
more
college,
people.
though? Just give
And
me.
he's a white guy.
We need more.
Oh, I believe it now.
I'm going to give you a phrase that pays, my friend. It's called cut the check. Cut the check. That's what we need, Jim Frazier. Cut the check. Because it's checks and
Is that the
sponsorships
blueprint?
and advertising
Is that the blueprint?
in the economical sense, Jim Frazier, that makes this magazine possible to put out. You know, like, and thank all the volunteers that are in the studio.
What about John?
John, inside of here in the cage with us.
Rookie of the year.
How about Devin?
He's in his sophomore slump.
How about Aaron? What are they talking about?
Aaron's here?
Aaron's here.
Hi,
Your
Aaron.
business
Aaron.
partner.
Control room.
Miss Aaron. She's
Devin
here.
Shea's here. Aaron Ward is here. And we have a new volunteer. I just know him as Jim. He come in trying to help out and see what
I
we
think
do.
George the ghost is
Hold
floating around
it.
here
George
somewhere.
the Ghost Groncy's in the house. I can't see him.
How could you leave him off?
I don't know. He disappears
Holy
so much.
smokes.
He talked to me early.
But yeah, that is the blueprint, Jim Frazier. This is what happens. You know, advertisers cut checks. We take the checks. We accumulate them. We put out this great publication. That,
Hey, what page are you on, Zach, since you gave all the shameless promotion for Pittsburgh
Don't tell me
Sportsline?
you have the page dog-eared.
Yeah, dude. It's page 5. Come on, John. Can you get this in there?
He is in a slump. Smoking Jim. You're the only guy that can get him out of the slump. Will you tell him what he was last year?
Rookie of the year.
Okay, thank you. Because when he hears it, he goes to another level. Look at him. He's on you now. He's on you. Okay.
John
We're
looked
gonna-
like he,
So what do you
John
got?
looked like he could have played a little linebacker in his day. He looked like he could hit somebody.
Yeah.
John will get it.
He
broken.
looks like a Cincinnati
Shit out of
Bengal
his
and
shoe.
one of the Bengals with long hair.
But I tell you what, John the Tiger Cocker is never going to put his hands on a woman, so he's already more of a man than Ray Rice. So whether Ray Rice gets suspended by the National Football League or not, he's still going to have the image of being a wife beater, just like the image of Michael Vick is always going to carry with him the idea of him and dogfighting. And Ray Lewis, your God-beloved hero, is or whatever he did down there at the Super Bowl in Atlanta. He turned his life around.
And let's not forget about money.
The juice?
Mayweather. He spent time in jail for beating up his girlfriend.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good point.
So stop the violence. That's the key. All right, soccer. We'll do a little segment on soccer.
Hey, there's violence in soccer.
We just had an ear biting. I saw the video before I come in.
Yeah,
it looks like he chomped him.
Well, the U.S. is playing.
I'm serious. The Italian guy might have lost his ear.
They're wrapping up group play, and the United States plays Germany on Thursday. And for the United States to make it to the elimination round, they have to either win or tie against Germany. If they lose, they're out.
That's not the final scenario, because there's a scenario that plays out where if there's another game that's going to be simultaneously taking place, and then it could potentially go to goal differential, because Portugal got blown out by Germany 4 or 5-1, I believe.
4-0.
If Portugal ties in their next match against Ghana simultaneously, the Americans will have to lose to the Germans by no less than 3 or 4 goals, and they will still advance in goal differential into that group.
Right, and the German team is consistently one of the favorites, year in and year out for the World Cup. So, but the group that the United States was put in, they called it the group of death. And, they were playing, well, obviously, the American team was the least, the worst team of the whole group. Beating Ghana was huge because Ghana knocked us out in 20.
Portugal and Ghana is the group of death?
Portugal, Ghana, and Germany. Germany is a perennial power. And Portugal has the number one. Portugal has the number one player in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Brazil, this ain't one of the great.
Let me moderate this right now. Smoking Jim just found out about the education expenses in our country.
He didn't even know soccer was a sport. They don't offer that at Gateway.
Jim, let me explain something to you, my friend.
We're not picking on you.
You know about as much about soccer as you do about baseball. Okay? You're about as knowledgeable about soccer as you are about baseball.
He still thinks Pele's in the World Cup.
Ghana knocked the United States out of the World Cup in 2006 and in 2010. And Portugal has arguably the number one player in the world. I believe the number one player in the world is a striker for Lionel Messi for the Argentinian team. And that was the team that I picked last week as the favorite to win the tournament this year.
Well, and they did win.
Lionel Messi finally racked up his first World Cup goal in a game a couple of days ago. But Cristiano Ronaldo is clearly the greatest player in the world in soccer. And as evident by that cross that broke our hearts in the stoppage time, how dangerous and how quickly a player like that can just change the whole course.
But I'm going to tell you this, for a large portion of that game, one of the things about Ronaldo by watching that game is we all know what a cherry picker is, right? And that's the kind of game he plays, and he whines and he cries and he complains to the officials constantly. Now, that being said, he is an amazingly talented soccer player, and that just shows you how inexperienced the Americans are, because everybody was thinking that we had this game won, and in the last 20 seconds, all it took was just one instantaneous lapse in concentration, and boom, the score was tied. And I tell you what, it was so heartbreaking to watch. It was watching them.
I'm glad I missed that part because I was happy we got a tie.
I felt like they'd lost the game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because if they would have won,
that's a bad feeling.
Yeah, when they win that game, they're into the round of 16,
what
and it would have been.
After they tied it up, did the Americans start flopping?
No, actually, there wasn't enough time left.
At least you learned the right things to watch for, Smoking Jim. Now let's go to something that's dear to our heart: the Pittsburgh Passion.
Undefeated.
I predicted they'd win a championship if you check the video.
Yeah, we did.
He did it and crushed 5 events.
You said dear to our heart. That's dear. The Passion or dear to your heart.
Well, you need to drink more coffee.
I'm not saying just mine.
Sleeping through the show.
But the Pittsburgh Passion.
Ricky Boy.
Well, I figured it's a Pittsburgh thing. If a team's undefeated in Pittsburgh with all the front runners we have, they're with it, Zach.
Saturday night, June 28th, Pittsburgh Passion will start their journey in the playoffs. Down a couple stadium. They're undefeated. They're going to go for an undefeated season in the championship, and we wish the girls well.
Yeah. Yes, they are. You know all about this because you keep this stuff secret. You got all the Passion players lining up for all your white party and everything else that you don't tell us about. So give us the white party before we run out of time.
All right, everybody come on out to my annual birthday bash. It's going to be Friday, July 4th. The 4th of July, it's going to be a white party, and I tell you what, we're going to shut down Monroeville. Come on, it's always a sellout.
Where?
Every year. It's
Where?
going to be at the Brewstone.
What time?
Restaurant from 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock. And
What about fireworks?
There's going to be fireworks in.
Can I come? I'm white.
Yeah. I'm going to have a hard time getting in. But,
Can you explain what white party means?
It's just people wear something white and come on in. So a lot of people got great white outfits that they like to show off.
I know Ray Lewis got one.
I can't seem to find it. We may break it out. But more importantly, too, on July 14th, Pittsburgh Sportsline and Sip Sports Bar is having their first annual Hall of Fame show. And so the Hall of Famers, like my man to my left, Little Z, will be honored with certificates.
Who's the latest one you just put in?
Mario Tempest.
Wow. And his brother was there to see it.
And I tell you what,
I think his mom should get in by default.
We'll be in there.
He's
Don't
in
have
charge.
a vote. But I agree with you. We're going to do something very special for his mom. But
I never asked anything of you.
Last time you wanted the guy that could get out of the suit. But
Hey, I thought, listen, anybody that could get out of a straitjacket has talent.
Yeah, that was a lot.
He's not in the Hall of Fame because he hasn't
He
come
like
back.
dislocated his arms and everything. Like
He was like Mel Gibson in some of those movies, banging his arm
within the
against
next
the door.
5 or 6 years, this is going to be one of the top Hall of Fames in the country.
And what's going to happen on this event? I'm in the dark.
You're in the dark.
You're like a mushroom.
I'm still in the
It's
dark.
going to be a
They
packed.
keep you in the dark and they
It's
feed
going
you
to be a
bunch of
packed
crap.
house at Sips. And matter of fact, today we just got an announcement of another Hall of Famer going in. A friend of the show from Pittsburgh Passion, Michelle. Michelle will be going in that day. She's excited about that. So you may see the
Which
Pittsburgh
Hall of
Passion
Fame?
in the house.
Hey, and
How did I know?
Pittsburgh
How did I know that you were going to tell me about passion?
hey, wait a minute.
You are a secret agent. I'm
what
telling
happened to
you.
the force?
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Yes.
Jim Frazier's springing for all the meatball hoagies.
You can guarantee my arrival.
Well, since we're talking Pittsburgh football and it's in the summer, the Pittsburgh Power. You know, we had them on our show early when we were all talking negative about it, and you had Tommy Grady and you had Aaron LeSueur tell us they were going to change how Pittsburgh Power was. I disagreed, and I was hopeful, like I told them. They did that.
They changed the culture down there. They've run off 7 or 8 wins in a row. I believe they're 11-3 now.
8 wins, I think 8 wins in a row
Yeah,
now.
11-3, and they are made the playoffs for the very first time in their history. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Power, and who knows? Maybe
Bon Jovi still
maybe
on
the
the team in New
console
Jersey?
will be a home to a
Philly?
championship, and it won't be the Penguins.
Right. No, congratulations, and we're working on maybe seeing one of the playoff games there. I'd like to see a game when they're winning. I've been to a
You
few in the
guys,
past.
Listen, folks, this is what I'm here for. This is what I live for. Nobody in their right mind wants to watch indoor football. That's about as entertaining as watching a soccer game for 90 minutes. So if you want to cut up on soccer, then let's cut up on indoor football because that is the biggest joke. I'd rather watch indoor soccer than indoor football.
Have you ever
It's
been
a
to a
terrible game. It's a terrible. I knew about indoor football before they even had the Power in the city of Pittsburgh, and it's still terrible. I don't care. I'm not.
You don't like indoor football?
I do not like indoor football whatsoever.
That side of the table seems to not like it.
I think it's
love it.
completely.
Oh, you
Oh,
don't
you're a
know.
fan now. You're a
They
fan.
won.
Now? You're a flip flopper.
Well, out of the sandbox, we got to at least hit some Bucko talk here. We only got 4
Hey,
minutes.
they're
a
at
couple-
500, so they're gonna. How many more games are left in the season, Chip?
So
They've only played 76,
there's
and they're
80
playing
there's
right
80
now.
There's
so.
86 games left, including tonight's game.
Stay under 84.
And
heavy
money. The heavy money that you're going to be donating to your cousin's college fund, you're going
Won't
to have
be
to
there.
find it somewhere else, because Macaroni Tony's going to be the one that's getting heavy on your money. But the Pirates have actually accomplished the fact that they are now 38-38. They're playing 500 baseball, and if you look at what the Pirates have gone through this spring, I mean, everybody, including my esteemed friend to my left, wrote them off in the beginning of May.
Going through some big teams.
And then you look at all the
Just in
things that have
time.
happened, the injuries, the injuries to the pitching staff, injuries to players going through slumps. Pedro Alvarez hit his second home run of the month of June last night. And you know what? The Pirates are positioned right now, I think, to make a run. They got the team healthy. Garrett Cole's going to be coming off the DL at the end of the week, probably be pitching on Saturday. Francisco Liriano's healing up. And, the pitchers that have filled in for them while they were gone have done very, very well. Vance Worley has pitched incredibly. Brandon Compton has been pitching lights out. Jeff Locke's pitching tonight, and I hope that he picks up his first win, because he's the first 3 games that he pitched. He very well should have won each and every one of them, and unfortunately, we gave up the lead and ended up winning the game and later in the game after he was no longer the pitcher of record. But I think the Pirates are positioned real, real well, and I'm really looking forward to the next 3 months. I've been to about 12 or 13 games this year.
Before we run out of time, or before you come into the white party?
I may not be
I don't know. How much is it? How much is that white party?
$10 in BYOB.
That's too
Bring
rich
your
for
own
my-
boys.
That's too rich for my
Bring your
blood.
own boys. Bring your own
rich.
I
boys.
may not be in town.
For my Homestead blood.
And
We're
the
coming
money
back.
all the money gets donated to a nonprofit.
Good job.
How much of the
What's his name? What's his name?
Macaroni Tony.
Come on, Jim Frazier. You're so vague.
That's the
You're
heavy
so
money.
vague. You need a legal department, man, with Jim
now-
Frazier
You
Incorporated.
now know where
Holy
heavy money
smokes.
comes from.
Holy smokes. Hey, we got to give a shout out to Easy E. It's his birthday today. A
Happy
good friend of
birthday,
the
Easy
show.
E.
Easy E always watches the
One
show.
of Brenner's best, and we have a lot of other people that have done a lot of great things with Pittsburgh Sportsline here. Smoking Jim, I don't know what this white party's all about. I'm still trying to figure it out. Just like the Hall of Fame, all I can say is be there, right?
Well,
What
be
time's
square.
my limousine picking me up for your white party?
Whenever you want, I'll
mean
send a
jitney?
jitney.
That was a nice.
He's going to send you one of those with the mustache, with the pink mustache on the front.
I like that.
Yeah, little Vinnie Cooper.
I like that. They're nice. I've been in a couple of those. No problem. But I do want to shout out to Rod Salka, one of our friends of the show, one of our guests. He was at our first show at Sip Sports Bar,
Yes, he was.
and I had asked him at the fight if he would bring his belt, if he would come on, and he said sure. So we saw the NABA championship belt on our show, and Rod since went on and won 2 more belts, and now he's fighting for the Golden Boy Entertainment or whatever they're called. So that's quite an honor to hear one of these young guys who's a great family man, military man, and everything else. Just a class
Friend.
act, friend of the show, friend of us. And we want to wish you good luck, Rod. And I heard we're going to have a road trip to Pittsburgh Sportsline. Zach said, hey, we traveled to New Jersey. Why not do it for Rod Salka? Now we're winding down the show, so thanks everybody. You know, John the Tiger Kiger's here. Devin Shea, Aaron Ward, George Groncy, the Ghost. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 everywhere. Thanks, Sam, for calling the show. And sorry Comcast 7 in Peters Township doesn't show us, and all my friends out there. And we'll see you next week. Have a great night.